everyone, and welcome to episode 93 of the CoinDrop podcast. I am back once again on vacation. Background might look a little bit different unless Mike has somehow managed to clean all of that completely out. Setup's a little jank here, but we're going to make sure to, well, hopefully make this work on hotel Wi-Fi. Tim, how's your week been, man? What have you been up to?
Oh, it's been a week, but before I get into that, I just wanted to apologize to the listeners of last week. I may have indulged just a little bit. Too much would be the best way to put that. I listened to the whole thing, so I stand with what I said, even though it made no sense to probably anyone. It made sense in my head as I was talking or listening to myself talk, but it's gone and past. If you guys care for me to try to explain myself, you can let me know, but we'll move on from there. As for my week, honestly, it was just another week. I didn't do anything crazy. Honestly, it was just kind of a chill 40-hour week, really.
Gotcha. The wife and I left for Portland to come down here for our trip. We took a train because, the daughter's been on most forms of travel at this point. We're like, hey, let's take a train to Portland. It's one thing we haven't really done.
Experience,
so,
right? Yep.
Yeah. And I'd never really taken a train anywhere longer than Stockton to Antioch. It's like the longest train ride I ever took. So, for back home. So we took a train ride. It was about a 6-hour train ride. It left at like 1 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, excuse me. Yeah, it left really early Thursday morning. And it got in at about 11 here in Portland. And so Thursday was a little bit rough, but yesterday was good. We went to, where did we go yesterday? Oh, we went to the museum. They were doing some like science museum thing. They had a Lego brick builder, like nationally recognized Lego engineer dude come out and do a bunch of like Jurassic World inspired Lego builds.
Nice.
So like there's all these super crazy, complex, awesome Legos that we saw. Daughter was pretty excited about that. We went to the zoo today, which honestly, I think the Portland Zoo, the Oregon Zoo, is probably better than San Diego Zoo.
Wow.
Like I haven't been to San Diego Zoo in a long time, but this was a really fucking cool zoo. And it wasn't, like hot as hell. So that's always a bonus.
Yeah, the San Diego Zoo has always been like the one from my childhood.
Yeah.
So like that's where I based my, is it as good as that zoo? Although I haven't really been to too many of them, so...
I've been to I think the best one in the country by far is Disney World, right? Like their animal kingdom is unparalleled, honestly.
Fair
but
enough.
On the West Coast here, I would say that the Oregon Zoo is pretty freaking cool. They've got some good exhibits with good views and stuff. Anyways, that's what we've been doing. And then, here tonight to do the podcast for, believe it or not, 2-year anniversary tonight as of recording this.
Yeah.
2 years, man. Crazy how time goes. So in light of that, we have some announcements to make. And we've been hinting at this a little bit. Mike has been hinting at this a little bit. If you've watched some of the earlier episodes all the way to the very end, you'll have caught some things. Don't tell her that. Don't tell her that. Have a great night, everyone. Don't tell her that. Tell her that. For those of you who don't know, years ago in 2016, Tim and I started as a website. We started the CoinDrop, coin-drop.com website. And we wrote video game news and reviews on that website for almost 4 years. By 2020, we were closing down the website because neither one of us could really not really control, but we could no longer invest what we were investing into it. And it had some pretty severe effects on both of our personal lives.
From my perspective, it was more of life got in the way, like, marriages and children and things of that sort. And then also the way I've always described it is the glue of the website, i.e. Paula.
Yeah. Paula,
she got a much better opportunity, and good for her. It just
absolutely
sucked for us, really. She got a great job opportunity at Bungie, if I'm remembering correctly.
I thought it was Amazon. I thought it was AWS. She got a job working for AWS.
Maybe she was
Services. looking for AWS.
Maybe she was looking into Bungie. I can't remember.
Yeah.
It was some really good opportunity, and it was basically because of the website, the stuff she was teaching herself for the website got her this gig, and it was like, damn, that sucks that you're leaving, but fuck yeah, good for you. You know?
Good for her.
Yeah, right?
That's honestly one of the things, that and the hate mail where somebody gave me death threats for saying Battlefront 2 was actually a good game are the two things I hang my hat on for old school CoinDrop. Just two greatest achievements. So all of this is to say, we're relaunching the website, CoinDrop.vet. No hyphen this time, just our logo, CoinDrop.vet.
Yep.
And we're coming back. We're writing again because, in a sea of AI written articles that are just general shit, that's kind of what we started off fighting to begin with, was a mediocrity. Right? Yes. Yeah, like we started CoinDrop originally to fight the mediocrity in news media, where it was basically people just recycling articles they were getting from someone else. Yep. The Game Rant would say the same thing that IGN is saying, which would say the same thing that Game Informer is saying. Like
exactly.
Yeah, it was just regurgitation across the entire internet, and we're seeing it even worse now because of AI. So with that said, I'm going to make some things very clear, and I'm going to make some promises right now. AI will never be involved in our content creation.
Never.
Ever. It will never have any footing in CoinDrop in that aspect. We might use it for some art, which we have in the past. I've used some like quick fire, just throw away images, things like that. But we will never use it for videos. We will never use it for articles. It will not be involved in our content. Everything that you will ever consume from CoinDrop has been painstakingly put together by a person, whether it's me, whether it's Tim, whether it's Mike, whether it's anybody.
Yep.
It will always be done and touched by humans. And there's too much out there that like people are leaning on AI to do. And I kind of understand it. In this industry in general, most people are paid per article. So if you're not writing, you're not making money. And the easiest way to do that is take something, hey, write me an article on this, plug it into ChatGPT and send it to your editor, right? Like I get it, but it dilutes the quality of information that we get to a point where literally Tim and I, a couple Patreon episodes ago, we went down a whole rabbit hole because of a mistranslation from from AI about Intergalactic.
A lot of time.
Where we had discussed Intergalactic trying to figure out their timeline, and this article was saying that Neil Druckmann himself said the year was 2000.
Yep.
No. Actually, that's not what he said in the interview AI article. He said the year is 2,000 years in the future.
And so, to be completely fair, they don't disclose that this article was written with AI, but with that bit of... That's a huge fuck up.
Yes.
There's almost no way that AI wasn't involved in this. This person just, popped it into, like you said, ChatGPT or whatever, and didn't proofread anything, didn't double check to make sure it was all correct, and just tossed it up and called it a day. And
and that's a failure on the editor-in-chief in that case too, because he didn't catch it, or she. Yeah. So basically what we're getting at here is we're going to work to move a lot of our articles, our archive stuff that somebody saved, honestly, on the Wayback Machine. Somebody went through and saved a bunch of our content, which is great. We're going to try and salvage a lot of that and backdate a lot of that information. If you guys want to read it, it will be available there. The site is still currently in development. The goal is to make it a one-stop shop. So you're going to be able to get the podcast there, watch the podcast there from our YouTube channel. It's going to directly import in there. The audio files will be there for download. There's a lot of goals and ambition. And just right off the cuff here, I want to say thank you very much to one of our Patreon supporters and a longtime friend of the show, Tony, who Tim early on called Tom multiple times.
Wait, his name's not Tom?
God, I will reach through this. I will reach through the screen and strangle you. Tony has put a lot of work into the website for us. And Tony, when you're listening to this, just thank you so much, man. I tell you every time that you're the best, but like seriously, dude, we couldn't do this without you. Same to Mike. We get a lot of help on this show from people who are just willing to give us their time with no cost. And we could not be more grateful. And to you fans who continue to listen to us and support us, it means a lot. So the website is currently up now, but it is in a state of current under development work. So we'll continue to update you as that goes on.
Yeah, the website isn't going to be something that we break our backs on trying to make sure every bit of news is on as well. So keep that in mind.
Right.
We're not going to be a one-stop shop for all video game news. We tried that before, and it turns out we can't do it alone. So it will be more curated news that Russ and I find interesting, or what we talk here on the podcast. That way we have something to look up. If we say, this game was announced, then maybe you can go to our website and actually look at what that game is and get one of our opinions on it, whoever writes the article. Or just personally, I expect myself to probably spend a little bit more time than Russ on it because I really enjoy writing. So I might spend more time making sure that there's at least a few articles a day on there, but don't expect there to be everything, if that makes sense.
Yeah. We have to take a step back. When we tried CoinDrop in the past, Tim and I pushed it to try and turn it into a business. Well, journalism as a whole isn't profitable.
Nope.
So just full stop right there. The best thing that you guys can do to help us continue to do what we're doing is doing what you're doing right now. Listening, subscribing, following, sharing us on Patreon, telling all of that. Like that is going to be what helps us get to make this show indefinitely forever and to do more things like what we're going to announce now. So, in the past, Tim has tried to give away video games and not had a lot of success.
Correct.
We're going to be doing a giveaway. And this is not just a Humble Bundle thing. I think we did that last year for our 1 year anniversary.
We did.
We are giving away a full-priced $70 game plus tax of your choice. Now, there are some rules and some stipulations here, so I'm going to go over those. And just keep in mind that this will be posted on our Facebook as soon as this audio goes live. So when you're hearing this, go to our Facebook and you can find this information there. First of all, here are the rules, okay?
Well, before you continue, let me just add that it doesn't have to be a $70 game. If you've got your eyes on like 30, 40, 50, whatever, it doesn't matter. Whatever just game maximum you want, maximum price of $70. We're not going to buy you some $500 collector's edition that includes a bike for Monster Hunter or some shit like that. But,
Yep. And this is a digital only copy. We're not going to buy you a physical copy and mail it to you. This is digital only on whatever system you want, whether that's PC, Xbox, PS4, PS5, whatever. Up to a limit of $70. Not to mean you can buy two $30 games. Just it's one game for a total of up to $70 plus tax.
Yeah.
So the way we're doing this, you can earn up to 10 entries in this giveaway, depending on what you do. And we're going to go over that now. So the first way to earn one entry is to like the post when it goes live on Facebook. Again, it's if you're hearing this audio day one or later, that post is already up and pinned on our Facebook page at CoinDrop Vets, I believe is our Facebook tag. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not I think that's correct. Man, can you tell we're so prepared for this?
I don't get on Facebook enough that I don't rank myself. I hate the damn website, but I'm there already. And
CoinDrop Vets. It is CoinDrop Vets.
That is correct.
That is our. So you can like the post, like the page, share the giveaway, and tag a friend in your share, and that will earn you one entry in the giveaway in the drawing. You can earn a second by subscribing to our YouTube channel at CoinDrop VODs, VODS. That's Victor, Oscar, Delta, Sierra. For those of you who like the phonetics, that'll earn you another entry. Joining our Discord, if you use Discord, will earn you another entry. There should be a link. You can click that and join our Discord. Now you're thinking, okay, that's 3 entries. Well, if you decide to support us on Patreon, you will also get a number of entries that correlate to the tier that you subscribe to. So what that means is if you subscribe at the $3 tier over at patreon.com/CoinDropPod, that'll earn you an additional 3 entries. If you subscribe at the $5 tier, that's 5 entries. And if you subscribe at the $7 tier, that's 7 extra entries. So those are the rules. It's really that simple. It's not a complex giveaway. We're doing it real simple. The drawing will be done on the 19th is when the drawing ends, and it will be announced who won on the next episode. The person who did win will know on the 19th. We will inform them directly via either Facebook Messenger or Discord if you joined our Discord. You will get notified on the 19th. Everyone else will know somebody won on the 23rd. We'll definitely communicate with you and make sure, if you don't want your name on the episode, totally fine. We'll use an alias, screen name, whatever you'd like. But that's the rules. Initially, we were planning this to give away Assassin's Creed Shadow. I kind of liked the idea of leaving it open to the winner and letting you as the winner decide what game you wanted rather than us telling you what game you're getting. It just made more sense to us.
Regardless of what Russ says, Assassin's Creed Shadows is actually pretty damn good.
I will admit it's probably a good game, but I will die on this hill. It's not a good Assassin's Creed game. It's fine.
I did play actually quite a bit. That's one of the things I left out of the preamble. I'm actually probably about 17 hours in now, which is a lot for me in about a week. But we already rambled enough last week on that, so I'll just say that I'm still enjoying it.
I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah. I am. Yeah. I've seen a lot of people have been. It's not for me. It's not what I liked about Assassin's Creed, and I kind of knew that going into it. I just expected
you were hoping. You were hoping for more.
Yeah, hoping for more.
Understandable. Yeah.
So that is the news, guys. Continue to support us here. Join in the giveaway. This will roll until the 19th. Someone will win. I don't care if it's only one person who entered one. That guy, you, that girl, whoever you are that entered, you got the game then because nobody else decided to join.
My fake account wins me. Just kidding. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, no. Showrunners completely excluded.
Anyone
from
involved directly with the CoinDrop podcast is not eligible.
Yeah. Yep. So that's me, Mike, and Tim. We are not eligible to partake in this. Everybody else, the goal here is to spread the word, right?
Yep.
Obviously, we are going to be running an ad campaign for this as well to try and get more people in. The more people we can get listening alongside of the website that we're doing gives us a better chance to go to events as media. And I've already been invited to GDC as media by a developer and was unable to go because I don't have the money for that. And we're not really a news source yet. So with your guys' help, we can get there and we can go cover those events. And you can know for a fact that no matter what happens, you are going to get not unbiased, but un-AI'd versions of what happened from Tim.
The dream is to become a media source for video games.
At some point, yeah.
But if we don't, then we're still going to be here anyway. We love what we do. Just the end of the week conversation is fun. That's what matters. It is. We enjoy what we do. So we appreciate you guys. But I think maybe we should move into our news.
We should. So first of all, we're going to cover two shows that happened. We were supposed to cover one last week, but we all know what happened last week. So let's go ahead and start with the first one, Tim. What do you got for us?
So we're going to start with Nintendo Direct, which was actually a newer event than the previous one, but there's a reason we're doing this. The Nintendo Direct was in a non-negative way. It was very Japanese. But when I say very Japanese, I'm talking about like almost the Nintendo 64 days that when Japanese only games came to America, we're like, what the hell is this? That was almost the entirety of the Nintendo show. So we're going to kind of blow through this. It was a decent sized show. It was a little less than 40 minutes, but they showed quite a few games. Anyways, I'm going to just talk about them and Russ will interrupt me here and there. So the first thing they showed was the follow-up to last year's Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D remake. This one is now Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD 2D remake. It was just a new trailer. They didn't really give us much new other than more gameplay. They still didn't give us a release window or a release date other than a continued window of 2025. The next Did you play 1 and 2 or 3, I guess? I did.
Because I know you were deep into the JRPGs.
Yes, okay. I did play the originals.
Are they worth going back to? Because again, it was one of those things. You're a few years older than me, so you were in a different mental age to play those games than I was. So they've always interested me. The older ones, as they went on, they got less interesting to me personally. But if you had to recommend 1 and 2, what do you think? Would you put them up there as RPGs that are worth playing today?
1 and 2 is a little harder to sell because of the age. I think 3 would be your better choice. The game that's already available. I think that would be your better choice. If you're interested in any ways, 3 is a really solid title, which is why they started with 3 over 1 and 2. Basically, if you like the 2D or HD 2D remakes or that style of graphics, which I think is a gorgeous style, definitely go look into it. Personally,
okay.
Just like the Star Ocean one that released I believe it was late 2023. That's another phenomenal one.
Gotcha. And they're Final Fantasy-esque in the sense that they don't connect, right? They're all independent stories.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Cool. And for those that don't know, fun fact about Dragon Quest, they got so freaking popular that they actually started releasing them on Fridays. That way people wouldn't take off work when they released, which was sort of crazy when I learned about that. But anyways, the next one is a new game in the AI Somnium Files universe, which is sort of an obscure game. They released originally, I believe, on the DS. They're sort of a visual novel, but this one is called No Sleep for Kaname Date, which is a strange title. But this one's it's not strictly a visual novel. It's also kind of an action, or not action, but more of an adventure game. Anyways, you'd have to go look it up to see what it is. It releases on the 25th, but it also does come out on the Steam as well. That
title makes me think of No Sleep Till Brooklyn by Beastie Boys. Every time I hear No Sleep For, I think Brooklyn. Wait, that's not how that is.
Brooklyn.
No, Brooklyn. Yeah. That's where my brain goes every time I hear that. I'm like, shit.
So I typically use Amazon Music. I tend to use Amazon Music, and every now and again, my Amazon Music's like, hey, listen to this one. And I usually listen to it just for a nostalgia trip.
Nice.
Along the lines of nostalgia trips, Atlas actually announced a new game. This one looks a lot like Devil Summoner, and I actually had no idea it existed. It's called Raidu Remastered. It looks almost exactly like Devil Summoner, and I'm a big Devil Summoner fan, so I didn't realize there was a precursor to this. This one's less straight JRPG, and it actually has a little bit of action ARPG elements to it. But if you have any idea what Devil Summoner is, Shin Megami Tensei, maybe that'll... Yeah. Jog some memories is the words I'm looking for. Anyways, I think it looks pretty interesting. I'm going to definitely have to look into it because I'm a Devil Summoner fan. Moving right along, I don't know how to even describe this title. This was so weird when we saw it for the first time.
Is that the Tamagotchi one?
No. This is the Shadow Labyrinth. Okay. It's the dark Pac-Man, Metroidvania side scroller. Yeah. It got a new trailer and a release date coming July 18th for everything. And I mean, it continues to look extremely intriguing because, you think Pac-Man, you think like lighthearted eating ghosts and
waka waka.
Exactly.
Waka. Yeah.
But this is like this is darker than Dark Souls almost.
Yeah, it's gritty. It's gritty. Did you see the secret level episode for it? On Amazon Prime?
No.
Dude, you need it.
I need to watch Secret Level. I forgot about it.
You do.
I do.
It's dark. it's real dark. They did that episode, and I was like, wow, okay. If this is what the game is, I'm sold.
Right. I mean, just the fact that it's dark Pac-Man has me interested, right?
Yeah.
Well, moving right along, Sony is moving even farther into the multi-platform strategy element. I don't know. Although they're still saying fuck you to Xbox. But Patapon 1 and 2 is getting a remake. They're calling Patapon 1 and 2 Replay. It is coming to PC, PS5, and Switch coming July 11th. Patapon is a side-scrolling
rhythm game.
Rhythm strategy. Maybe not strategy. Anyways, the music is just absolutely endearing and it just draws you in. They're so much freaking fun that I loved them. So the fact that they're coming out with another one or a remake, I'm like, my kids, they need to play this. I don't know if they'll enjoy it as much as I did, but either way.
Watch Avatar and play Patapong and relive the early 2000s.
There you go. Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Yes, that's what I meant. Yes.
I know.
That's the only Avatar. I don't give a shit about the movies. Fuck the movies.
I do like the blue people, but...
yeah, you would.
Yeah. I'm not a furry, I swear. Anyways, the next one is Story of Seasons is getting another. This is like now that I think about it, this whole show is like a remake show basically, because the next one's a remake of Story of Seasons, Grand Bazaar. It was originally a regular Nintendo DS title. Story of Seasons is a shit. Do you remember the title? That it's like a spin-off series.
It's a Harvest Moon like, isn't
There
it?
you go. That's what it is. Harvest Moon. Yeah, it's a Harvest Moon spinoff. Anyways, yeah. Basically, if you like Harvest Moon style cozy-ish.
Yeah, it's I mean they've done this a ton of times, right?
Yeah.
Fae Farm is one of the more popular ones. You've got Stardew Valley, which does, like,
well, this
there's a million of them.
Story of Seasons is sort of, I guess, a precursor to cozy games, I guess.
Interesting.
Yeah, more or less. So anyways, it comes August 27th to both PC and Switch. The big reveal of the show, which oddly enough was like really early in, was Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah.
Let me put into perspective. This is so old. This game's announcement is so old. The original website was still active when they originally announced this game. When the website was still active, they delayed the game. And when
he means our website, our original website.
Yes, the original CoinDrop CoinDrop website.
Drop.com. Yes.
.com website.
You got it. You got there.
Active.
You got there.
They announced
you covered it. I believe you wrote an article.
Mm-hmm. I wrote an announcement. Well, I wrote an article on the announcement, and I wrote an article on the delay. And the delay wasn't just like, oh, we're going to delay it for 6 months. It was a delay of we're starting over.
Yep.
It was like, bring it back to the drawing board. And I was still at the sheriff's department in 2020. I'm pretty certain.
I think that might have been one of the topics on the original Gamers Society podcast that we did. I feel like we talked about
pretty
it.
sure that's the
might
case.
have been. Yeah.
Well, they re-revealed it like last year, I think it was. And the re-reveal was a very short snippet. This was actual like a proper gameplay review or overview.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, it looks exactly like the OG Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3. It's right up my alley. I'm super stoked about that. I'm not super stoked about the fact that this 2025 game looks worse than a 2015 game.
Yeah.
On last gen hardware.
Yeah.
Sure. This is a Nintendo Switch, and it released in 2017, and it was old tech when it launched. But like Kingdom Come Deliverance launched on it, The Witcher 3 launched on it, and many other games launched on it. Like that just look significantly better than this, and it's really disappointing. But I don't know. I'm in such a weird place. Like I feel like they should be doing better.
I could have swore the last time they teased this, the footage they showed looked better than what they just recently showed.
Well, to add to what you just said, when they showed it last time, there was a lot of conversation online. Is that Switch 2 footage? Is that Switch 2? Or was that regular Switch? Which one is that one? Does it look better than Switch footage? People were really, really suspect of what they showed being Switch 1 or Switch 2. So I think you're right up in the appropriate mindset.
Okay. I wasn't crazy because I saw it and I was like, I swear this game looked better the last time they showed something on it. So
yeah, I mean, I was going to say it almost lends credence. So maybe the last footage they showed was Switch 2 footage, and this is Switch footage.
Either that, or they're pulling a Watch Dogs.
Maybe. I mean, to be fair, this Nintendo Direct was this week. It was on Thursday, and
sure.
What day is the second? The second is Wednesday.
It's the day this episode comes out. Yeah.
Wednesday. The day this episode comes out, Wednesday, is the Nintendo Switch
2
Direct.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe they'll show it again, and they'll show how much better it looks on the Switch 2. I don't know. I'm disappointed that the graphics kind of look like shit. I mean, it looks worse than it looks worse than Halo 4, and that's kind of sad. But I'm also a Metroid Prime fanboy, so I'm super stoked about this regardless.
I mean, I think that's basically Nintendo's model nowadays, right? Shut up, you're going to buy it anyways.
This is one of the few games from them that I will. I mean, the fact that I'm willing to buy this over Zelda is kind of crazy to me.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't bought Tears of the Kingdom, but I will buy this day one. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about the psychic powers?
So let me tell you my Metroid history. I played Metroid and Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion.
You played some really good ones.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, they were fantastic games, but I
Yeah.
have never played the Prime, mainly because it came to the Wii and it was so god awful to try and play on the Wii that I never played it.
You never played them on
and
the
I get
GameCube?
that that's no, I didn't own a GameCube.
Gotcha.
So the only things I really played on GameCube were I'd played them in a buddy's house, and I would play like the very beginning of Twilight Princess, and we played Resident Evil 2 Nemesis, and we played 3 Nemesis,
Yep.
right?
I think it was
Something
3.
like that.
Yeah, I think it was 3. Yeah.
Code Veronica or
Code
was
Veronica.
it
Code Veronica was on there.
Yeah. and Smash Bros. And that was basically it, because that's kind of what he had.
Yeah.
So no, I never did get a chance to play the Prime series. They are like games that I am interested in, though, right? Because they're first person shooters. But to me, it always felt weird for that transition, because I was so used to playing Metroid as the 2D side scroller, that it was in the past. So
That's fair.
I don't know. It's something I would like to play. I believe they did like a HD remaster release for Switch or something, didn't they?
For the OG Metroid
for like
Prime, yes.
yeah.
There was an HD remaster that just recently released. Walmart basically always has it for $30. I haven't yet bought it, and I really want to, but it's a game that I've played already.
That makes it hard to really buy.
So many
Right.
times. That was one of those games that was like fucking, like, it was personality forming for me. That I beat it so many times as a kid. So like for me, when I originally bought the GameCube, I bought the GameCube for Pikmin of all games. And
that's a good game.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I bought it for Pikmin, and I fell in love with that, as well as Animal Crossing. We had this conversation a couple of episodes ago. And then Metroid Prime came out, and I'm telling you, I did everything in that game so many times, because Metroid Prime was just the shit. And then Metroid Prime 2 came out, and then when 3 came out on the Wii, I actually never played it. I don't know why. I have it.
It was on the Wii.
Probably. Like, I actually own it, and it's so weird. I have not played a Metroid Prime game or a Metroid game since Metroid Prime 2, and I don't know why. Like, I've actually intended. I've intended to play Prime 3. I've intended to play Other M. I've attempted to play the what do they call it? Metroid Prime. The 3DS one. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically Metroid Prime on 3DS.
Yeah.
It was Metroid Prime on 3DS, but it had its own special title. I don't remember what it was. It doesn't look like I own it. But anyways, I never got back to them. And it's one of those ones that I've like, every time I think about it, I'm like, I got to play that. But I will. I don't care. I will play 4. I'm at the point where I basically...
Yeah. They didn't really go into detail.
Hate is a strong term. Hate is a strong term for Nintendo, but I'm close to that because they're a scummy fucking company. But I think I might just give them my money for 4.
The psychic powers, they didn't really go into too much detail on. So I'm curious to find out what they are and what the deal is with the Deadpool suit that she gets for whatever reason.
Yeah, that was definitely very weird.
It was a very, very Deadpool-esque style suit. And I'm like, all right, okay. Sure.
The only thing, so like the trailer did show the psychic powers basically being attached to puzzles. And if that's the extent, I'm going to be really disappointed, because yes, Metroid's always had puzzles, especially Prime, but it just feels like a cop-out / mechanic shift. Like, you do all this stuff already, but now you've got psychic powers, and therefore I can do it from afar. So if it's not combat related, I think it's a missed opportunity, but I guess we'll see later this year, because they did say it was coming this year.
I'm betting it's probably going to be a Switch 2 release. Like, it'll be a launch title for the Switch 2 is my guess.
Yeah. Well, this isn't a plan for later information, but the rumors are all suggesting that not only will the Switch 2 release this year, next week, the rumors say that it's going to release this year, but in a 3-phase manner. Basically, they're going to release in June, and it's going to be all first-party titles, which is funky ass to me. But later in the year, so June launch, September-ish, they're going to release a backlog upgraded games, and then by holiday season, it's going to be third-party games.
And this is a rumor?
But it's been rumored by actually a lot of people, and not just small nobodies, but kind of big people too, IGN and various other big places. So like
we're small nobodies, so you never know.
You're right. But to me, it seems really odd, and just the fact that they would quote launch with no third-party support is really weird to me. But maybe
Nintendo's always figured their first party nostalgia is going to carry on, and for the most part it has.
And not just that, they've always gone with weird and off the cuff, always. Except for regular Nintendo and Super Nintendo. After that, it's always been weird, right? So maybe that rumor is true.
Who knows?
You'd think that they would want everyone and their mothers, just like with the original Wii, to buy this thing as soon as possible. So unless they have some sort of absolute amazing system seller, people like you and I would be like, okay, why am I going to buy this thing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to buy a Switch too. It's just a matter of when really. Yeah. So moving on. If
this game is a launch title or whatever, then I'll probably buy it on Switch 2 rather than the Switch 1. But as you said, moving along, Disney is getting a
yes,
coffee shop simulator
for villains.
For villains. Yeah. I don't know what else to say about that. It released already too, so the only thing I can think of is Coffee Talk, which has like 2 or 3 games now, but I don't think it's quite Coffee Talk. It's a coffee shop simulator, and you have to like make
potions,
villainous potions and stuff.
Yeah,
it's weird. Go look it up. It's also available.
It's a game.
Yeah, it's also available on PC and Switch.
It's a game.
It's a game, right? The next one is another game that to me kind of looked like Hogwarts Legacy, but if it was made on the Super Nintendo. It's called Witchbrook.
Yeah.
It's a cozy life / witch simulator. It doesn't look terrible, but you have to be into cozy life sim games. The only thing we know is it's coming later this year, and it honestly really doesn't look terrible, especially if you like the old school aesthetic. But moving on, we talked about this game, I think a couple of months ago. It actually might have even been the Summer Game Fest, I believe, last year. It is called The Eternal Life Goldman, and the thing that struck out to me was the old man. Oh, right. The old man in this Metroidvania style game. It looks super cool. Like it has like a Cuphead / early cartoon era, vibe about it. And I just think it looks really, really cool. They just gave us more gameplay. Unfortunately, they didn't give us anything else. All we know is it's coming to pretty much every modern platform later this year. The next one, Gradius, is turning 40 years old. And if you don't know what Gradius is...
Goddamn.
Yeah. Older than me, barely, but older than me. Something's older than me.
I can still say that. It's the shoot 'em up to end all shoot 'em ups.
Right? They are your OG... what do they call them?
Shoot 'em up.
No, they have a different name for it, where you're at the bottom of the screen.
It's a shmup. Right? Yeah, it's a shmup. It's a shoot 'em up.
Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Maybe I'm just wrong. I don't know. Anyways, it's getting a 40-year anniversary collection, but it also does come with a new game called Salamander 3.
Salamander 3.
Yes. Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
It is coming to all modern platforms on August 7th.
Don't get it twisted, though. Salamander 3 is very much still graphically the same as Gradius and Salamander 2 and Gradius 2. Like, yeah.
Yep. The next one is Rift of the Necrodancer. It is a rhythm-based...
Fighting?
Not fighting.
Monster Slayer?
Dungeon crawler, I think might be the best term. Yeah.
Something like that.
It's a franchise that's been out for a while. Actually, they came out with a Zelda one, I think it was, a couple of years ago. For the Switch.
Cadence of Hyrule, I believe was that one.
There you go. That's correct. Yep. Anyways, this Rift of the Necrodancer has been available on other platforms already. This is finally just making its way to the Switch, and it launched on Thursday, the 27th. Therefore, for you listening to this, it's available already.
Yeah, it's been out for a little bit.
Yep. A couple days at least, almost a week for you guys, or if you're listening to this day one. Anyways, the next one, Tamagotchi, has been released, or not released, but revived from the dead. Tamagotchi, if you're as old as me and Russ, this was
they kind of fucked me up with their announcement. They called it Tamagotchi, and I'm like, that's not.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. That's not what that's called.
I don't
it's
care
Tamagotchi.
if that's what you called it. I called it Tamagotchi, and that's its name. Damn it. Which my favorite book series ever. This is, I'm sorry, a side story, but my favorite book series ever.
Here we go.
One of my favorite characters. I always called her Kalan because of the way it's spelled, Kahlan. And then I heard the author say the name, and he says Kaylin, and I'm like, you're wrong, damn it. Sorry. Anyways, Tamagotchi
It's the at-ats.
Right. Tamagotchi is coming back. It's called Tamagotchi Plaza. It's coming to the 27th exclusively to the Switch. I probably
It's not like the Tamagotchi of the past.
No.
It's very different, and I don't know that I'm interested in it, but it's cool that it's Tamagotchi.
Which is why I said I won't be buying it. No. I would much rather buy an OG Tamagotchi and attach it to my keyring. Take care of my
I would rather buy an OG Tamagotchi, attach it to a sentient speaking rat, that I then put on top of my gravity gun that I give to my chimp, who is incredibly intelligent and also able to communicate. For those of you who don't know, that's the premise of a game called what is it? We talked about it last week. Animal Use Protocol. Animal Use Protocol.
There it is.
That's the premise to that. We talked about it last week on the Patreon.
Yes,
you should go check it out. It's a very interesting game.
Very. Moving on from there, one of Nintendo's largest the largest intellectual property in the world is getting a follow-up on the Pokemon Legends franchise. ZA, yes. I think is how you properly say this game.
Yep.
So I really liked the original Pokemon Legends to a point. I thought it was a phenomenal starting ground, kind of like Tears of the Kingdom, not Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild. Kind of like it was like a phenomenal starting ground, but they were playing it way too safe. Yeah. And ZA is their way of expanding what it could or should have been in the beginning, but to me, it sort of just feels like it just has the original familiar trappings of what Pokemon is. And instead of expanding upon what it could have been with the original Legends, they went with what they're familiar with and added some of Legends Arceus to, I don't know. It just like, it's like, oh, that's what you chose to go to. They learned nothing from Pal World. They learned nothing from Temtem, and they basically just went back to what they were before. And it's like, oh, great. That's unfortunate.
You know, as somebody that wishes Assassin's Creed would take from that formula, I kind of respect them for sticking to what they do well and not changing too much. But at the same time, franchises do need to grow and change to stay fresh and unique. And I think they're playing it a little bit too close to the chest. I'd have to agree with you. But as someone who has seen Assassin's Creed go from an urban stealth game to an open world RPG, you run the risk of changing too much and alienating some people. Though with Pokemon, you can never go that far. But, you know.
I mean, Legends is supposed to be their sort of spin-off mainline entry. So you got your mainline Pokemon games, and Legends is supposed to be your sort of spin-off mainline entries, if that makes any sense. And so you have your original mainline entries that people could be excited and happy about because it sticks to the original. Legends is supposed to be something new and different. And instead of doing that, they sort of like reeled it in from what it was potentially going to be to what it already is. And that's what I'm disappointed with, I guess.
Fair enough.
But if you're a diehard Pokemon fan, you probably won't care. And I'm not. So
same.
Anyways, moving on, Nintendo's owned Rhythm series, which I don't think we've seen an entry since the Wii days or the OG DS days, is getting a new entry, and it's called Rhythm Heaven Groove. And I actually really enjoyed the Rhythm games. They were really fun back in the day, especially on the DS, but I probably won't buy that.
Fair enough.
Yep. So The next entry or bit of news isn't a game. It is a feature. They are allowing people to share their digital games, and they're calling it the virtual game card system. Basically, it's extremely limited. You have to be on the same family group as whoever it is you're sharing it with. But also the two consoles have to be right next to each other because you have to virtually eject your disc, and then the person who accepts it needs to virtually insert the disc. So it's as if you're doing it but digitally, like physically. It's as if you're doing it physically but not physically. But the fact that they're forcing you to be on the same family group and in the same proximity as the other person feels like this will be extremely limited. Maybe they're hoping that the Switch 2, or they're expecting the Switch 2 to be just as successful as the OG Switch, and therefore like families will have multiple versions. But like at the same time, why not just, I don't know. Why not just play on the original Switch it's on and make your own profile and play the game, and there you go. You don't got to worry about this stupid system. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It also is limited to only 14 days the maximum before it's automatically returned to the actual owner, which I think they're scared to take too big a step and say, okay, you can send it to anyone anywhere.
I mean, to be fair, look at the Xbox and the PlayStation with Game Share. It is 100% taken advantage of, and both Microsoft and Sony know that. But they tolerate it because at the very least, at least one copy is being sold that might not have otherwise been. So I think Nintendo is trying to go no.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As Nintendo does. Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Right. Right. Pretty much.
Classic.
Pretty much. The next thing that was shown at the Nintendo event was a sizzle reel, and it was basically 6 games shown in quick succession in a 1 minute spiel or sizzle reel. The first one was High on Life is coming to the platform on May 6th. The next one was a previous game we talked about. I don't remember when, but it's called Star Overdrive. It's like you're on like a space skateboard, but you're on an otherworldly planet, and it actually looks kind of interesting. It comes April 12th. That one releases, if I'm not mistaken, on PC and Switch. There's no other platforms currently. The next one is called The Wandering Village. It releases on the Switch the July 17th because it's already released on other platforms. It's a Super Nintendo-esque, slightly better looking graphically, sandbox city builder, and you build your city on the back of a giant dinosaur that's roaming the world. It's The Wandering Village title. The next one, I believe we also talked about this one on a previous episode. It's called King of Meat. I have no fucking clue why they titled it this, because it seems to make no relevance to the rest of the game. It's like a hack and slash game show-ish platformer survival game. It's a co-op 4-player hack and slash thing. It seems like it's going for what's that game where there's like 100 people, not human software. It's 100 people racing to the end, trying to see who can win. What game is that?
Fall Guys?
Fall Guys. There you go. That's it. Okay. It's kind of like that, but not 100 people. It's 4 players, and you're trying to make it to the end. And it just, to me, stuck out like a game show almost. That's what it looked like. The next one is a title called Lose Lagoon Summer. It's to me, looked like a Breath of the Wild meets a My Time at Porsche or Sandrock or whatever. It looks like those type of games, which is like a cozy life sim, Animal Crossing ish type of game. This one actually looks rather interesting to me since I like the My Time games. Anyways. The next one was in the sizzle reel. The next and last one of the sizzle reel was Fantasy Life I, the Girl Who Steals Time, which I think we talked about somewhat recently. It went from a Switch exclusive to pretty much all the platforms, but they showed us that it is releasing on May 21st. The next bit of news, I don't know why they did a sizzle reel. like near the end and then talked about exclusive or more games afterwards. It seems weird. You think the scissor reel would be at the end. But anyways,
Yeah.
Saga Frontier 2, which is an old game, is also getting a remaster, basically another HD 2D remaster. This one's coming to all platforms except for fuck you Xbox, basically. instead of fuck you Switch, it's fuck you Xbox this time. I don't know why. It seems strange to me, but that's where we're at. The next of the remastered series, because like I said, this was a remastered show, it seems, is Monument Valley, which is actually a really interesting puzzle games. A 1, 2, and 3 remastered is coming on April 15th to all platforms. And although this is a Nintendo Direct, PlayStation has yet another showing. This isn't the first one. The other one was Pat upon. This time they are bringing Everybody Golf, which I'm pretty certain they've had one on every platform, every PlayStation platform since the OG PlayStation. So this one is a remaster. It's Everybody Golf Hot Shots, but they're bringing it to PC, PS5, and Switch this time around.
Didn't that end up just becoming Hot Shots Golf at some point, or were those two different franchises?
Yes,
okay,
it did.
I wasn't crazy. I was like, I swear to God, this was called Hot Shots Golf.
Yeah, okay. If I'm not mistaken, it was originally called Everybody Golf, and then they changed it to Hot Shot Golf, and now this time around they're calling it Everybody Golf Hot Shots. So, yeah.
Fucking naming conventions, fuck them, right?
Mm-hmm, right. They're taking their notes out of Xbox for their console naming.
Xbox 360, Xbox Series X, Xbox One X, Xbox X. That's fucking Xbox, dude.
Yep. Anyway, the next one's a good announcement, if you ask me, from the makers of TMNT Shredder's Revenge, which is a solid side-scrolling title. They announced a new one called Marvel Cosmic Invasion. That
was like the one game that actually looked really good to me, besides Metroid. Yeah.
Yes, I fully agree with you. It is another old school side-scroller beat 'em up of our childhood, and it looks great. It's coming to pretty much all the platforms later this year. The second to last announcement of the Nintendo show was Tomodachi Life, which I think it's been over a decade since they've released their last game, and this is one of those Japanese games, and it's basically the Nintendo Mii's, but kind of The Sims, but also like them ending their show on that is really strange.
Yeah, that was a weird ending to their show.
Yeah, usually the ending of the show is something like super cool, like say Metroid Prime 4. But yeah, from what I could tell, based on the conversation online, on Twitter and Reddit and various other places, people are actually really excited about that. Not necessarily Americans or Europeans or, well, anyone outside of Japan is excited about it, but Japanese are excited about it, so maybe that's why they chose that. I did see something earlier this week that it was actually Nier Automata that saved the Japanese industry, because at the time Nier Automata released, Japanese developers were chasing the Western dollar
style,
the style and dollar, and they were looking for that type of game, and Nier Automata was like, fuck that, I'm gonna make a Japanese game, and that allowed other developers to go, well, maybe I should make a Japanese style Japanese game, and
good for them. Yeah,
exactly. And that's why the Asian markets over the last couple of years and seemingly over the next several are dominating the market, because that's where it all started and they know what they're doing. Please go back. And it seems like they're doing so, thankfully. Anyways.
Yeah.
The last one was not a game. It was an app for your cell phone called, I didn't read the title. Nintendo, whatever.
Nintendo Today or something like that.
That's what it was. That's correct. Nintendo Today. Yeah. I didn't read the title, but basically it's an app that allows you to track Nintendo news. Specifically Nintendo news. They actually tested this app the day after launch by announcing that the Zelda live action movie is releasing 2 years from now, March of 2027. But they gave us nothing else.
Why? Why even announce it?
Good question. I don't know. They gave us no actors, no trailer, no concept, nothing.
Just they probably haven't even started filming if it's releasing 2 years from now.
That was kind of my thought.
They might have a script.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I can see a script being done, and I actually did see several people on X talking about who they wanted to play as Zelda, and I don't remember her name, but there's some female in particular who I looked up, and she's kind of a no-name actor, but she would be the absolute freaking perfect Zelda. That's how good she is. I did comment on somebody's post on it, so I might be able to find it shortly. I'll just stop.
I feel like no-name actors and actresses would be a good fit for a Zelda movie, honestly, because like you don't want, like, for the love of God, no more Chris Pratt or like Liam Hemsworth,
but I agree with you.
I like him, but like, come on, man, like we don't need another, like, the original meme, which was in the 90s. There's an actor named Jude Law, and we would constantly go to the movie theaters in the early 2000s, late 90s, and be like, every movie trailer, it'd be like, Jude Law stars in, because he was just in everything in the late 90s and early 2000s. Like Tom Cruise, he was fucking in everything. And it's just like, come on, man. Like, we would get somebody who's not as well known and like give them this chance and see what they can do with it. Because I can't think of a single actor currently that I would like to see play Link. And I know people out there are going to go, oh, what about the guy who plays Dune? What about the guy who plays Dune? No, fuck that. That dude does everything right now. He does everything.
Timothy Chalamet, like, he might not be a bad choice, but
I don't want him in it. I don't want him as Link. I just don't. He's doing too much.
It's Timothy Chalamet, like you said, he's doing too much, but also, like, there's something about him that I don't think would fit Link.
Yeah.
So, like, my example of no-name actors is the original of the Star Trek remakes. All of those actors were fucking no-namers. All of them. And they were all fantastic. You can find fantastic no-name actors. And so I'm looking forward to...
Absolutely.
So I found
Mark Hamill.
Yeah, right. I found it while I was looking. There's a girl named Hunter Schafer. Just Google her. She would be a phenomenal Zelda, if you ask me. And there's one picture in particular that when I looked her up, I was like, who the fuck is Hunter Schafer? That I was like, damn.
I mean, she basically looks like Zelda in the first picture that pops up.
Exactly. She even almost has quite pointed ears in that picture too.
Yes, so, she really does.
She would be absolutely perfect. And I mean, we don't have a cast for this thing yet. And for all we know, there is a cast. But anyways, Nintendo decided to test their prominence, I guess, by announcing this on their new app. And of course, it quickly spread to every other social media that exists. So I don't know how they can. I mean, for all we know, 10,000 people looked at it on the new app, and then 50 billion looked at it on every other app. Every other social. Yeah. So I'm sure they know the stats, but I'd be willing to bet that it's probably like that. You know, almost nobody looked at it on the new app, and it was spread via all the other social medias.
Yes.
But I guess that ultimately doesn't matter because the news still spread, right? Anyways.
Right.
I'm sure they'll stick with it. But my understanding of this, especially given the first announcement they made was a movie, is they're going to announce their movies. They're going to announce their, like, the Nintendo, not the Nintendo Lab, but the Alarmo thing that they released, as well as their theme park and so on and so forth. It's not just going to be games. It's going to be anything Nintendo does. So maybe it's worth keeping an eye on if you are that deep in a Nintendo. But yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. So we are already at the hour mark for this episode. And we are supposed to be talking about the Future Game Show because we didn't get to it last week. So, Tim, how much time do you want to dedicate to the Future Game Show? Because we're already an hour into the podcast.
Yes. This is the one that I want.
Do you want to hit the highlights? Yeah. Do you want to hit the highlights?
I can do that.
And then we can talk more over on the Patreon side and kind of shuffle some things around on the Patreon side.
I'm okay with that. So let me do my best to pick those highlights because it's a list. It's not as long as the Nintendo one, but there's more that we would easily spend time on. So, okay. The first title that they showed off was a new game called Dark Math. And this is this is a survival horror game.
You said Dark Math?
Mass, M-A-S-S. It's a It's a survival horror game that takes place entirely underwater.
Interesting.
It's the first of its kind, and it's a first-person survival horror title, and it looks really interesting. Given you have the traversal difference of walking or whatever versus swimming anywhere. This does take place in your typical mansion, but it's still underwater, and that just instantly, like, my first thought was Zelda, right? For Ocarina of Time, where you're in the water temple, where water really changes the way you play. But this is the entire game, and there is that, not horror, but like,
what the fuck,
that element of like, what's going to happen to me because I'm now somewhere I don't know, but I'm also underwater element to it. This game looks really interesting to me. And
I just watched most of the trailer, and there is thalassophobia. Is that what it is? Fear of water?
There is a game that
I think
came out with a title like that.
But the actual thing is thalassophobia, if I'm not mistaken. Thalassophobia.
I have to look it up. Fear of water.
Fear of deep bodies, that kind of stuff. Yeah. There is something primally terrifying about this game, and it's because of its setting and the fact that it's underwater. It's very upsetting to see things floating in a place where otherwise it shouldn't be. Right? Like. Yeah, so I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's such an interesting title because they can easily hit tropes that we've exhausted 20 years ago, but make it really different because of what you just said. Things are floating and they're where they shouldn't be, where they otherwise should be. So yeah, it's really
You've
cool.
got built on UE5, which means potentially
VR,
you get some Prey Dog. Yep.
Yes.
Potentially some Prey Dog VR in there, which would add a level of horror to it. It is a narrative exploration with choices, so you communicate with your brother Reed through a fully Spanish voiced walkie-talkie. So I guess the spoken language is Spanish, which is cool. Hopefully they do some localizations for other people, but interesting. Yeah. Decisions that shape your fate, your actions matter. Choose. Yeah, it gives me like Until Dawn vibes to it.
Yeah, a little bit. I can see that.
Path Games is the developer and publisher. I don't know that they've done anything prior to this. Looks like they didn't
look that hard.
Insomnius.
Not Insomnium? Because there's a game called Insomnium.
Yes. It's INSOMNIS. Insomnius.
Insomnius. Okay, so yeah. I didn't realize there was another one that was very similarly titled.
Cool. Well, that is Dark Mass. That looks good. What else you got?
It is wish listed now.
Yes, same for me.
All right. The next one is an old franchise called Painkiller. It is coming back with a new entry.
What?
Yes, Painkiller. Yes, and interestingly enough, this one is a 3-player co-op. It looks
what?
Really good, actually. Just go watch the trailer. It looks,
pulling it up right now.
It looks somewhat similar to what you'd expect, say, Left 4 Dead style game ish. But with Painkiller
Return
elements.
from Purgatory. Nice.
Yep. I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
And it's coming.
Yeah, Painkiller is great. That's a classic.
Yes. And it's coming later this year too.
Yep. Yeah. 3-player co-op is very cool. It's super Doom-esque, fast paced. Yeah. Painkiller was a great franchise. I'm stoked to see they're bringing another one. So the same developers and Shar Studios, published by 3D Realms, which I believe is the same publisher.
That is correct.
These are the guys that made, they made Detached, which was one of the first VR games I played.
Detached
where they
good.
basically, Detached was basically like, it was rated poorly because they basically took all of the rules of VR games that people made, like don't make fast movements, don't do this, don't do that. They're like, yeah, fuck that. And they made a very barf-inducing space racing game where you're flying through space. It is really fun, but nice. New Painkiller. Awesome.
Yes, and it looks legit. This is the way I wrote it down.
Yeah, it does.
Yep. The next one.
What we got next?
The next one is actually a VR title. It's called Elsewhere Electric. This one, interestingly enough, is a co-op game, but it's one player on VR and the other player on mobile, cell phone or tablet or whatever. Basically, one person plays in VR while the other uses their phone as like sort of a distant helper. It's built with co-op in mind, so almost like the Joseph Fares type of game. And it like I actually wrote it almost like is like a Haze-like Games game. And basically you as the VR person, like to me, almost felt like you were like an EOD, an explosives expert in like the military.
Yeah.
But like you're going into whatever situation and you have to give the person on the cell phone who has access to the internet or whatever it may be, they have access to more information than you, and you give them clues so they can look it up in their manual or whatever and tell you what to do. It to me looked really interesting, especially because only one person needs a VR headset.
So there is a game like this. This expands on that premise called Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes.
Yes.
I don't know if you've played that. Yeah, it's the same idea. You've got one person in a VR headset and you've got a bomb defusal manual. And generally it's played with like at least two people, right?
Yeah.
And one person, in the VR headset, you have a bomb. You have to describe what you're looking at to the people outside that have the diffuse manual. And it's a communication game and it's a blast. So this expanding on that idea, sold. Definitely sold. Elsewhere Electric. Sounds awesome.
Imagine Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes as like an experience, like a small little mini game almost. More than that, but basically a mini game. And this game is a full game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. This is like a full on expansion of that idea. Very cool. Elsewhere Electric looks great.
Yep.
I'm totally interested in that.
100%. And for those that are System Shock fans, the System Shock original title was released, I believe, last year. But the System Shock 2 is actually getting a 25th anniversary. That's how old even the second one is. That one is launching on the 26th of June. Now, this is the one that I really wanted to get your thoughts on, because this one was, I was like, what? This one comes from Remedy Entertainment, the guys that make Control.
And Alan Wake.
This title is in the Control. Well, they're all in the same universe, but this one is actually takes place at the Federal Bureau of Control, i.e., directly in the Control world or gameplay element or area, whatever. Anyways, it's called FBC Firebreak. It is a 3-player survival like similar to Left 4 Dead. And it takes place, like I said, in the Federal Bureau of Control. And you are the firebreak team, as they call it, responding to an invasion of sentient sticky notes.
Is that actually?
Yes, that's really what they're doing. FBC Firebreak.
Sentient sticky notes.
It's not only sticky notes. There's like
paper chase,
zombie-esque looking enemies and things of that sort. But but I honestly think it looks really interesting. It's so different. It's a Left 4 Dead like, but it's like Control is a super serious psychological action adventure, psychic type game, and this one is like sort of turning it on its head to be less serious
and very goofy,
but in that serious realm, so like it's kind of serious. There's something about it that just entices me, because while you're playing, there's sticky notes all over the place and you have to shoot water at them to soak them and make them not good. And as you're running along fighting these zombies and various other enemies, the sticky notes are attaching themselves to your face and all over your body. So your buddies have to then shoot at you to get the sticky notes off you. So it's like you have to worry about the enemies, but also the environment, but also your buddies. And there's just something about it that's compelling, I guess.
It's definitely interesting. It looks like, you can get to the point where you get covered and then you become like a bad guy. It kind of seemed like it hinted at there.
Which is very Left 4 Dead, which is another reason why I was thinking Left 4 Dead.
It's very, so like part of what makes this even viable as a game is the particle effects, right? Like the ability to put that many sticky notes on screen is not something we would have been able to do a generation ago. So it's very unique because there's really hasn't been a time before this that we could have pulled something like this off.
And sort of to, I don't want to change the topic to Assassin's Creed Shadows, but the particle, if there's so many particles moving around all the time in that game that it's just gorgeous. And
it is a beautiful game.
I will change topics again in the sense of there's this guy that he's a developer that worked, I believe, at EA. I haven't watched his videos in a while, but he's making his own engine, or at least last I heard he was making his own engine. And he actually mentions the particle effects like you mentioned in this, and like I just mentioned Assassin's Creed. They're kind of like re-beautification of your game. It's so simple. It almost adds nothing to the CPU side of your game, and you can add so much depth and beauty to your game. And I almost wonder, are the sticky notes in this game that, or are they an enemy in and of themselves, or are they Gears of War style where there's like thousands or whatever on the screen at once, and each one of them is unique, but also part of a hive mind, kind of like Days Gone. Yeah, like Days Gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's a mixture of this is really simple and it adds nothing as far as CPU usage to your game. Yeah, resources to your game. But at the same time, they also have to add an AI element to these sticky notes. So like it's a strange place that, like, yes, you're right. I don't think this would be doable on previous gens, but I don't know. I'd have to be a developer to really understand. But the game to me just looks really interesting because I love Control. Control was awesome. It's such a unique game, and Remedy makes such unique games that I'm really excited to see what this becomes, but also, you know, obviously what becomes of the Control universe.
Yeah, that's definitely a unique title. I'm interested in it. Does look like a fun co-op game, and 3-player co-op is perfect for, you know, like a CoinDrop, CoinDrop plays kind of thing where you, me, and Mike get together. Yeah, community event would be great for it. All right. Any other big titles to mention on the future game show you want to get my take on?
Yeah.
I think we got time for 2 more, depending.
Okay, let me pick appropriately. This one stuck out to me. So this game looks like an almost Zelda-like action game, and I mean like Super Nintendo Zelda action-like game. Okay. It's called Roamstead. Like the country Rome. Roamstead, yes. Like Homestead, but Roamstead. And it's a multiplayer game where you rebuild Rome because Rome was destroyed, right? But in the Super Nintendo aesthetic. So it's kind of like a survival game. But not because it's Super Nintendo.
And it looks like it's 1 to 8 players.
Yeah. There's something about that just like, that calls to me because it's got the aesthetics of what you'd play 20, 30 years ago. But
it very much looks like what I would expect. What Link Between Worlds or Link to the Past looked like, right? Yeah.
But it's got modern mechanics, although not so modern like, say, Valheim, where you're placing every single wall. You know, it's not quite so in depth, but there's something about it that just seemed really compelling to me.
Yeah. It looks cool. Again, anytime you do pixel art with upwards of 30 to 60 FPS, it always looks beautiful. And the simplicity of this old school style with co-op play and the graphical, I don't know, luster, I guess, of old school SNES days, looks awesome. Straight up, just looks great. Looks really fun.
I agree with you.
Yeah, that's one I want to play too. All right. Last one from the future game show.
Yeah, this is a hard choice because there's quite a few left still to talk about. But I honestly think the next best choice is probably Chronos, The New Dawn. This comes from the Silent Hill 2 remake developers.
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yes, Bloober Team. It got a new trailer and a more in-depth one. Obviously, it's an alternate history thriller survival horror game. Basically, it's a time traveling survival horror game. It's such, it's like all the monikers at once. I don't know how else to say anything else good about it other than I promise you, if you like horror in any ways, Bloober Team, oddly, like it's so weird. Bloober Team made that title on Xbox Series consoles. I can't remember the title of it, but it was exclusive for a minute, and then eventually came to PlayStation. But like they were like okay, sure, you make horror titles. To now they're like some of the best in the industry. Yeah, and it only took 3 games because they went from that game, whatever game, I can't remember the dang name of it, but they went from that first game on Series to Silent Hill 2 remake to now this, and like this.
That would be Medium. The Medium.
Medium. There you go. The Medium. That's what it is. Yeah. That's correct.
Yeah. Because I remember seeing that and being like, all right, yeah, kind of looks creepy. Yeah. I mean, again, if this is built on Unreal Engine does magic. A lot of people have some negative stuff to say about it, but once you learn Unreal, fine-tuning it and working it to really get your vision down is not hard. It really isn't. And it allows you to do some phenomenal stuff in a very short window. So I'm not all that surprised, especially because Silent Hill 2, them getting that title for the remake was huge for them. Yes. So, and the success of that probably allowed them to recruit even more talent. The question I have is, do they have an AI disclosure on Steam? And it doesn't look like it, which tells me that AI for Chronos, Chronos does not have an AI disclosure on their Steam page, which tells me it's highly unlikely that anything in this game is built using AI or influenced by AI at all, which is the best possible outcome. So.
That's good. That's good. I wonder how, I don't know, enforceable that disclosure is. Also, like you said, like nothing was influenced. And so my mind instantly went to some guy goes, hey, I want to design this, whatever that this may be, a building or a t-shirt or whatever, literally whatever. And what if he used AI, like he just generated something with AI imaging? Did you... Not to get off topic here, but did you see the new ChatGPT 4.0 thing that hit like 2 days ago?
No.
I'm telling you, their new image generator is mind-blowing. Amazing. It is so fucking good that it's like, oh my God. The interesting thing that popped out of it the most was people are using it to create Studio Ghibli versions of all of the memes that have like been popular over the last several years. And I'm telling you, it looks like Studio Ghibli drew all of these. That's how good it is. But anyways, my thought is what if someone's using AI to generate something and then they're taking that as inspiration to draw something themselves? Does that require an AI disclosure? You know what I mean? So like,
I don't know.
That's just what my mind went to.
It's going to be in Steam's TOS what they dictate, right? But it's easily enforceable because it's in Steam's TOS. So if a game is found to be breaking that, they're in violation of TOS. And I mean, for anybody, that means removal from the platform or whatever the case may be, potentially legal action. You never know, right? But I believe there's, like anything, some gray area there. I'm sure. I would think if it was up to me, if I was Gabe Newell, and I wanted to prototype, I want a character that looks like this, middle-aged, this, that, or the other, these aesthetics, this setting, and I punch that into AI and it kicks me something out. If I then take that and rebuild it and go, okay, I like the design idea here, but I think this can be done better, or I want to change this, I want to do this. If you were to take that and go to your artist and go, create something kind of like this, make these changes, make it this, that, or the other, I wouldn't say it's AI influenced, but you're still creating the art differently, right? Like it's that idea of let me copy your homework, but change a few answers. It's that idea, but more extreme, right? Because now you're taking the idea of what's presented and allowing human interaction to shape what the end product is. So I don't know personally, I wouldn't require that to be disclosed because that's just concept arting at that point.
Yeah.
that's not really inherent to the game itself. It's stuff like we saw with Minsk, right? He had to put in his AI disclosure that he used AI for the soundtrack and AI to update some textures or buff up some textures and things of that long, right? Those are products that's actually in the game. When you're concept arting, I don't personally feel like that's something that needs to be disclosed, but if it's in the game, it should be. But I haven't read Steam's posting on that, for that. So I don't know what their regulations are.
My mind also goes to how would they be able to prove that somebody did that? You know what I mean? But I mean, that's besides the point. In any case, As in any case, I actually have one more that I'd like to mention on the free side here. And this one is very pointed, and you'll find out why in a second. There is an MMO shooter called Pioneer coming out that apparently has been announced for a while. I had no idea. In any case, this is the way I looked at it. Pioneer, by the way, is spelled with one E. Pioneer.
I see that. Yeah.
It to me basically looks like Stalker, but an online MMO. And I thought it looked really good. There was something about it that just kind of drew me in. Like, it almost felt like what the OG Stalker was going for, because the OG Stalker was meant to be an online game that had like large servers.
Yeah.
But this is meant to be like an extremely large MMO, Stalker type shooter. And there's something about it that just sort of drew me in, even though Stalker, I guess, didn't. I don't know. It doesn't have that hardcore, like, you're going to hate yourself for playing this game element to it. I don't know.
Yeah, Stalker definitely has that.
Right? Like, it's not Tarkov, it's not Stalker. It's at the very least you're going to enjoy yourself, but something about it at least drew my attention a little bit, right?
Yeah, I can see a little bit of Stalker influence here. I could see like Dying Light almost too, to a certain extent. It's way more fast paced than Stalker is. Stalker is very methodical, and there's a lot of quick movement in here, which reminds me more of like Borderlands, Dying Light style. But the setting definitely looks Stalker.
Yes,
it's interesting. It's definitely interesting. Pioneer. Yeah. It looks good. I don't know who GFA Games is. I've never heard of them before.
Neither have I.
This is their first game.
Yep.
Ooh, are they? Hold on. When was this announced?
Oh, God.
Are they who Fantastic rebranded as?
I hope not at this point, because the gameplay looks rather good. Maybe. Please don't.
I'm Googling right now. No. They're 8 points. That's who they changed their name to 8 points. So it's not them, but it is one of those, like, I get the vibe of it looks a bit too good to be true.
I mean, go back to the original gameplay trailer of the day before.
Yeah, no,
that looked amazing, and this doesn't look even that good as far as quality wise. We're talking the day before looked like almost a Last of Us 2 competitor in its capabilities.
This looks really solid. I don't know. I'll watch this. I'm hesitant because, again, this is another no-name company, GFA Games, right?
Yep. But I mean, maybe this was formed after the whole the non-compete clause has gone away, and so maybe this is one. We also still haven't heard anything from Alcahest, which has been dark now for well over a year. Who also showed something pretty amazing and then just walked away. So, at least this one has GFA Games actually has a website. So it looks like they've done closed beta testing as of 3/11/2024. So it's in development. It is a game. It looks interesting enough. I would check it out. IGN has talked about it. The gamers talked about it, and PC Gamer have talked about it. So it's legitimate at the very least. We'll see what it actually delivers on, though. Yeah, more or less. That's kind of why I mentioned it. I figured you might be interested in it. Just a side topic here. You mentioned Alcahest, and you said they've been silent for a year. Well, I decided to look up their Twitter account, and they haven't posted anything since that trailer. Absolutely nothing. So that was June 27th. So not quite a year, but close.
We're coming up on it.
But still, they've posted nothing. Yeah. So
looks like we called that one correct.
I hate to say that. They did share IGN's coverage, but that was when they showed their trailer off. So we're probably
they didn't share our coverage.
Unfortunately, we probably are correct. I really hate that.
Yeah. Yep. Me too. Any rate, let's hit our quickfire news and get the hell out of here.
Sounds good. All right. The quickfire news we have for tonight is Indiana Jones and the Great Circle finally has a PlayStation 5 release date, and that is April 17th. And if you have been paying attention, April 17th is a busy as fuck day. I don't know how you're going to afford it. You might as well put your house on a second mortgage. That's how busy it is. The next title that I will 100% buy is Expedition 33. They have given us some depth. I don't know how to say this. Basically, they've decided to forego, meaning they are not including a minimap in their game because they want you to explore organically. Instead of giving you a bajillion markers on the map, they want you to figure it out, which, to be fair, Elden Ring did wonderfully, phenomenally, better than phenomenally. You just randomly explore in that game and you'd find some amazing things. Some of the best parts of that game are just organically found. So if they can do anything even close to that, I'll be happy because I'm super stoked for that game.
Yeah. I mean, it's got a great cast of voice actors, so I'm pretty interested in it too.
Yes, it has a super great cast of voice actors. So I mean, that at the very least should make it worth playing at least once, right?
Right.
On a unfortunate note, because most people are douchebags these days.
Yeah.
Ghost of Tsushima was a super successful PlayStation franchise or PS4 game that it did so well that Japan loved it so much that they actually honored Sucker Punch Productions for it, and Sucker Punch honored them right on back by hosting a crowdfunding
fundraiser.
Fundraiser to help restore some old Tori gates, some old iconic places in Japan. And unfortunately, one of them was recently vandalized so terribly, so disrespectfully, that Japan has decided that no foreigners can ever visit the site again. They've banned all foreigners. And
in the military, we had a saying, it only takes one asshole to ruin it for everybody.
Yep.
And sure enough, it sure does.
Sure enough.
Fucking asshole.
And Russ is probably right here, although he might not be. It's more than likely an American. That's all I can say.
We've got a horrible rate of disrespecting stuff because we don't understand respect. So it's a travesty, but the odds are in our favor that it was probably some disrespectful piece of shit American. And I'm going to go ahead and say this now. If I ever come across somebody in a bar who says, yeah, I was at Japan and I fucked with this Tori gate, I will punch you in the throat. I will. So
right? I'll go to jail for that.
Yeah, I'll spend the night in the jail for that. That's fine.
I may have mentioned this on a previous episode. There's literally a thing called a nuisance influencer.
Yes, yeah, you did talk about that.
I'm not going to go farther than that, and that's what this feels like to me.
Yep. If I ever find out who did that and they're in a bar next to me, I will punch them in the throat.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll stick with the bad news so I can end with the good news.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, for fans of Hogwarts Legacy, the announced DLC and even announced Game of the Year, or whatever they decided to call it, edition, has been canceled. Oddly enough, because the game was stupid freaking successful. Like, it sold, I think 18 plus million copies by like 6 months in, something crazy like that. So
WB's best game in a long time.
Yeah, probably ever. Anyways, they canceled it for some reason, and yeah, look forward to Hogwarts Legacy 2 instead of the DLC in between, because that hasn't been canceled, to my knowledge.
Yet.
Yeah. On the topic of laughing, Enjoy, The Sims.
It's a weird segue.
The Sims copycat. Probably the closest competitor, the closest copycat of The Sims I think I've ever seen is a title called Enjoy. We did cover this a while back, but it's launched in early access. I think it's $40 if I'm remembering correctly if you have Steam. Anyways, have you ever thought about running over children? Because this game lets you. And not only can you run them over, they launch.
To be fair, the guy didn't really run him over.
No.
He barely taps this kid with his car, and the kid flies like 140 feet. It's very funny.
It's
but
comical.
goddamn it, Tim, that was a horrible way of saying that.
If you've ever thought about it, please seek help.
Yes, definitely.
Please seek help. This is obviously a serious topic, but it's a video game, so it's funny. If you feel like searching this up, it is rather comical. The developers have since said that this is wrong. Don't do that. And I'm sure they're going to patch this out of the game sooner rather than later, especially because when the person in the video launches this little child, the other children don't even react. They don't care at all. They don't say anything. They don't run away in fear. They just stand there. So I'm sure this is just some canned animation for quote NPCs. So
yeah,
they'll get rid of it for kids soon enough, I'm sure. Anyways, it's still hilarious because, yep. If you like not Minecraft, I'm sorry, No Man's Sky, they just
kind of Minecraft.
Kind of, yeah. They just don't stop. They have released another rather large update. This time they're calling it the Relic update, but it's sort of an anthropology type update where you can dig up bones and make museums and all sorts of other crazy stuff, because it's never just one thing or 3 things or 6 things. It's usually like 15 new additions to the game. And that's exactly...
Yeah, it makes me wonder if they're ever going to actually make Light No Fire. Like, it seems like they haven't stopped working on No Man's Sky.
Right? Especially for such a small team. My hope in all of this is that what they're doing, all of this is also going to go into Light No Fire, and Light No Fire is basically the same source code. It's just a slightly different game. And so anything they do is just both games. If you want No Man's Sky, you get a space version. And if you want fantasy, you've got Light No Fire, and you don't have to choose. I'm hoping that's the case. And I mean, hell, just looking at the one Light No Fire trailer they've released, sure as shit looks like like No Man's Sky. I don't know why I keep saying Minecraft. But it sure looks like No Man's Sky. Anyways, No Man's Sky seemingly won't ever stop, and I actually kind of think Sean Murray has sort of said they won't unless they can't think of something fun. So sounds like they won't.
Yeah. Let the good times roll, baby.
Right. And the last but not least news is Game Informer has come back from the dead. And not only have they come back from the dead.
They copied us.
Right. they said the CoinDrop podcast is back. We need to as well. Damn it.
We must respond.
Right.
Light the fires and call Gondor for aid.
Right.
We have to compete.
Speaking of Gondor, I just watched Boromir die earlier today. It was rather sad.
Sean Bean.
It was
Sean Bean.
right?
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean. Yes, Sean Bean.
Yeah.
Such phenomenal movies. But anyways, Game Informer is back, and not only are they back, all of the original staff that was there when they were shut down is back. All of them, every single one.
That's pretty impressive.
The Game Informer that you
impressive.
knew before they were shut down has returned, and you can expect the same great Game Informer. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't really reading them when they were canceled, which is probably partially why they were canceled, because people like me that used to read them wasn't reading them anymore.
We were too busy writing what they were writing.
Right? I don't know if they, hit a bad streak, and I hope to God they didn't hit the Kotaku, Polygon, IGN of the worlds. I hope they didn't, but my hope would be that they return to what they used to be when I was 15. Pretty much the best source of gaming news. Yeah. I don't care. I hope it's good. That's what I hope for. We'll see.
Yeah. I think they're gonna have a hard time monetizing. Honestly, that's the thing, right? Like, this is not a job that's gonna pay people. It's just not.
Unless they can get a lot of backers.
Yeah, and I wish them the best of luck, but if they don't have a good monetization system going into this, they're just going to close again. Because
I have no doubt their name alone, saying they're back, they're going to freaking push for Patreon or what other choice they have.
I was actually just about to say, do they have a Patreon? Let's see.
If it's not Patreon, it's some other crowdfunding source. I have no doubt that they have that. And because of their name alone, their launch is, hey, we're back. Please give us money. And people probably will, because Game Informer has that level of nostalgia. Like I just said, I hope they return to the greats they were when I was 15. So almost 25 years ago, close to, I think it was 22
so
years ago.
They have their own internal subscription model.
Okay. Which means they probably don't disclose what they're getting already.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
So,
well, more than likely, they're probably earning a stupid amount of money already, because it went pretty viral.
Game Informer, I've got a bone to pick with you right now, and I'm just going to go ahead and just drop this one on you. Locking dark mode behind a paywall is bullshit.
Ooh,
fuck you for that. Fuck you for that.
That's dumb.
Locking dark mode behind a paywall. That's all I got. That's what I got. Wish you the best. But locking dark mode behind a paywall is kind of BS.
That's dark mode? What?
Yep.
Wow.
I just went to their subscribe. Yep. So it's a choice. I mean, realistically, right? Like, it doesn't hurt anything, but as somebody who doesn't look at white browser pages unless it's Facebook, because I'm a masochist and want my eyes to burn every time I'm on that website, so I get the hell off of it. It's a choice. I wish him the best of luck. Dude, I don't ever see this becoming something that's going to afford to pay writers. I just don't.
Not anymore.
Not really. That time has sailed. So IGN can do it because IGN's been doing it for forever.
Well, without some sort of brand name that will make people be willing to give you money in droves, it's not viable, which means basically only the elite can do it. And those that have been around for a long time. And which is why I think Game Informer has a chance of it, which is probably why they came back. They knew the name alone was viable to get people to give them money. And I'm actually looking it up here. At their peak in the 2010s, they were earning something like $7.5 million annually.
God damn.
They might not make that much money anymore, but hell, they might even make more. Crowdfunding,
maybe.
I mean, just look at Star Citizen. They've made like over $500 million now.
Can we get some of that? Can we just get like just a fraction of that?
If
10,000 annually would be amazing.
I'd be happy with $200 a month.
Yeah, no joke.
Right? That's $1,200 a year. I'd be happy with.
Same. Like just a fraction of that, enough for us to be able to pay to actually go to conferences and stuff like that would be great. But whatever.
Yeah.
It's I don't know, man. your content, if you're going to have a subscription model like that, your content has to be on point. And I feel like Game Informer closed because their content was no longer on point and people were canceling. However,
you also
if
have
they
to
can
consider,
deliver,
you also have to consider they were also a print magazine. They weren't just online. So they did have to consider those costs too.
Yeah. And I think however, I think a lot of the people that are going to back them are going to want that old school in the mail.
If they don't give them a magazine anymore, that's like, why am I doing this? Yeah.
Right. The answer then becomes, well, because hopefully they're like us and none of their art or none of their articles are written at all by AI and it's all written by seasoned veterans of the gaming industry. But that's the hope.
The problem is I don't have a lot of hope for really anyone. Like anyone. Not a single other person do I know can I expect to not use AI in the way that we have promised.
I'm so tired of this new game looks like this game mixed with this game. We do that, but that's because we have the history of playing them. We don't make that our fucking headline of our goddamn article. You goddamn rookies. Have some class.
As much as I hate to say it, that is why people click articles. And that's probably why we'll never get big. But, if it means keeping my integrity, if it means keeping my integrity and knowing my stuff is a better of quality, that's okay with me.
Yeah. Yeah. We don't do this for the love. We do this because we love it. So
not for the money.
Anyways,
we do it because we love it.
Yeah, exactly. We do it for the right reasons. If we get money off of it, awesome. If not, whatever. But speaking of money, just to plug it again here, don't forget about that giveaway. Spread the love. Let people know we're here. Get them interested. If you like our content, spread the word. We appreciate everything you guys are out there doing. I know multiple of you guys are out there telling coworkers and friends. Hell, Tim managed to market to a telemarketer this show. So that's a hell of that's one hell of an achievement there. But
actually, if I'm not mistaken, the week after you were like, we had a hell of a bump last week. I have no idea if that's why, but I'm pretty damn certain it was the next week. You were like, holy shit.
Maybe he's out telemarketing us now. Like, hey, have you heard of the CoinDrop podcast?
I'll take it.
I'll take it too. Giveaway starts now. You're listening to it. It's live. Sign up. Do all the things. If you don't want to contribute on Patreon, if money's tight, I get it. I totally do. We felt like it was the right way to incentivize people who are able and willing to contribute at that and to give back to them for that contribution on top of all the other benefits you get from Patreon. So I totally get if you feel like, oh, this feels like FOMO if I don't do that. I get it. I don't personally have those feelings about anything ever because I don't get FOMO. I understand and I apologize that you feel that way, but this was the best way we could think of to promote the ability to actually do more of these. Because you got to think, guys, if we get 10 people subscribed in that $5 tier, we can do one of these every quarter.
Even the we can afford to do even the $3 tier. We'd be able to do it relatively often. So
So it really doesn't it's not meant to be like, oh, well, if I don't do this, I lose the odds. If this guy, that's not the point here. The point is to try and get more support for us so we can give you more of these, to give you more of these opportunities.
We have said many times in the past, even if you've never heard us say this, we have said many times in the past, our goal is to give back to you. If we can manage to do this, I'd be willing to do this every episode if we had that kind of money.
Oh God, dude! If we pulled in $1,000 a month, I'd be doing a giveaway every episode, 100%, 100%, every week, every episode,
100%. That's exactly what I want. And then it wouldn't just be a game every episode. We'd give away a console maybe once a month or something like that. That would be so
whenever
cool.
a new one drops.
To spread the love of this industry is what we want to do. It's not for us to make a living off of. It's to give back to you guys.
Nah, I don't want to do this as a job. I love you guys. I don't want this to be my job. Side hustle, sure, totally fine. Yeah. This is a job. No, thank you. It's way too volatile. It's way too risky. I will stick with being a mechanic, and this will continue to be a side thing. Yeah, always. Yeah. But I don't want to ramble on too much more.
Basically, what we're saying is tell everyone you know that's willing to listen to podcasts or likes video games, because They
Check it
don't
out.
even have to listen to us to be entered in. Just
Yeah.
tell them about it and let them know they've got a couple of weeks to enter.
Yep. That is it for us. We're going to head over to our Patreon side now, where you're also going to get some exclusive content over there. We're going to talk a little bit more about the Future Game Show. We're going to talk about an update to Minecraft and something else that I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm rambling. Ubisoft news.
Yes.
I had to pull up my notes. We're going to talk about some news from Ubisoft and a weird announcement that they're doing. You'll have to head over there to hear more. We're also going to talk about the upcoming games for the week. And remember, if you are a subscriber on our Patreon, you get this episode a day early. So it comes out on Tuesday for you. And if we ever get big enough to run ads, it will always be ad-free on the Patreon side. So just, again, we also have a website that is coming. It's live right now. You can go check it out. There's some things there. If you have some feedback, thoughts about the layout, anything like that, feel free to shoot them to us either on Facebook or Discord, wherever you want to talk to us and let us know what your thoughts on the website are. We might consider them. We might tell you to fuck off. Who knows? It's up in the air. But with that said, Tim, I think you got one more message for our audience.
Tell your mom I said hello.
And tell your dog I said,
What the fuck? Oh, geez, Mike, please leave that in.